I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, I'm delighted to welcome back to the show one of my favorite guests. Her name is Dr. Barbara Ten Brink, and she has written a wonderful book. It is about a real-life hero, and the name of the book is On the Space Shuttle with Sally Ride. This captivating biography shares the story of Sally Ride, the first American woman to break the bounds of Earth and venture into space, highlighting her remarkable achievements. We're delighted to have this very talented and prolific author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Mainspring Books for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her delightful biography. The links are below this interview. Doctor, great to see you here today on Spotlight, and the cover of the book looks terrific as well.
Logan, thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh. You and I've had many interviews,
Yep.
and you know how much I love my biographies.
Mm-hmm.
I have on Amazon.com, I have 40 books. But honestly, as an author, my my biographies, my biographies
Mm-hmm.
are my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, Isaac Newton, Traveling, Force and Motion, On the Island with Charles Darwin,
Mm-hmm.
Galapagos Island, In the Springtime with Rachel Carson, Silent Spring,
Mm-hmm.
During the Pandemic, Smallpox with Edward Jenner, inventor of vaccination,
Mm-hmm.
Through the Microscopes of Antoni van Leeuwenhoek, father of microbiology, Into the Canyon with Mary Coulter, architect with the adjacent to Pico Santa Fe Railroad, Canyon being the Grand Canyon. You and I just talked about this
Yep.
book recently, On the Silk Road with Marco Polo. So fun book to write.
I'm sure.
Darling, how my biographies are different is I carry a theme through the book. So a theme with Edward Jenner was his ability to problem solve, and
Mm.
he couldn't give it up.
Right.
He was going to solve a problem. And this was a worldwide pandemic, just like COVID,
Mm.
smallpox. And then the theme of On the Silk Road with Marco Polo is superlatives,
Mm.
because it's the greatest, the biggest, the richest, the most massive, the most beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So my theme through Sally Ride, and darling, please forgive me if I cry, because
Mm.
I love my book so much.
Mm.
I become in love with the uh, person of interest in my book. So Sally Ride was tenacious,
Yeah.
and that is the best theme for her. And um, she was motivated.
Mm.
She was tenacious. So um, like if we look the first chapter,
Mm-hmm.
tenacity.
Yeah.
What was it about her that she couldn't quit until she had succeeded? And in my first chapter, I'm talking about tenacity.
Mm.
Um, Ambition is a powerful motivator, a desire to succeed, to win, to achieve, to ace a test, to be first in your class, to gain notoriety, to push humanity forward, to better the planet, to solve a problem, to make the world a better place, are all attainable goals for those who seek them, work hard, and don't listen to naysayers.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about Sally Ride.
Mm-hmm.
She started playing tennis in her family took a vacation to Europe, and she played her first tennis game at age 9 and fell in love with it and became tenacious about tennis.
Mm.
So her first career was tennis. She was a national professional. She turned pro at age 21. At age
Mm.
21, she was nationally ranked and turned professional
Wow.
at age 21. Unbelievable story
Mm.
about her tennis.
Yeah.
But Logan, At age 21, she retired from tennis. So she became a professional tennis player at age 21, and she retired from tennis at age 21.
Wow.
I know.
Because she had her eye on the
Why?
bigger prize, I guess, right?
She found a bigger prize. Logan, what a beautiful way to say that.
Yeah.
She decided, and she was determined, she decided she was in love with physics. Now, you
Mm.
know, I'm an old science teacher. I taught
Mm.
science for 50 years in the classroom. Unbelievable
Mm.
career in science education. So all of my scientists' biographies are about their science. Well, Sally Ride became, she mastered physics
Mm.
at Stanford University. She got 4 degrees in physics.
Wow.
And in the newspaper, the school newspaper, Stanford University ran a little ad. It's in my book. I found the original ad and I didn't retype it. I actually photocopied the ad and put the ad in my book.
Mm-hmm.
She answered an ad for NASA.
Wow.
There were 35 astronauts selected. They were the first astronauts selected since in 15 years. The right stuff, they'd been named and they had flown on the Apollos and the Geminis. And now NASA wanted to fly on the space shuttles.
Mm.
And they selected 35, and they're called the first 35 because they were the first after years and years of NASA just languishing with the right stuff astronauts.
Mm.
So there was a class of 6 females in the 35, and Sally Ride was chosen to be the first female American astronaut ever.
Amazing.
Honey, her brilliance comes through NASA.
Mm.
NASA recognized her brilliance. It's unbelievable. She's the youngest astronaut ever. She was 32 years old when she flew on the Challenger for the first time. She flew on the Challenger twice.
Mm.
Now, please don't confuse her with Krista McAuliffe.
Right.
Krista McAuliffe was the first civilian in space,
Right.
and NASA chose a teacher, which
Yeah.
was a big interest to me,
Mm.
being a teacher.
Yeah.
This is very different. This is before Krista McAuliffe. Sally Ride flew on the Challenger twice in perfect safety. And then she's just a brilliant person. And the beautiful thing, because not all of us have the privilege of being recognized for our
Mm.
talent or our bosses to acknowledge our brilliance.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen, but NASA recognized her talent. So there are 3 things I want to tell you about NASA and Sally Ride. First of all, she was the first woman chosen, and
Mm-hmm.
she was chosen for a second flight also.
Yeah.
When she quit flying, she was named to the Dream Team. She was the chair of the NASA Dream Team.
Mm.
What do we want NASA to look like in the next 20, 30, 40 years?
Yeah.
And that person was Sally Ride, led
Amazing.
the Dream Team. It's called the Ride Report. It was so fun to write because I went, you know, who dreamed? Who dreamed?
Mm.
Who else dreamed of space flight? So in my book, I go back to the 12th century and I start pulling authors up to Sally Ride, people who dreamed about space travel,
Mm.
because Sally Ride led the dream team for NASA. Unbelievable. 2 more things.
Sure.
When Challenger exploded, Krista McAuliffe and the crew all perished. Sally Ride served on the Challenger committee to investigate what happened. Sally Ride and Richard Feynman discovered It was the cold temperatures affecting the O-rings. You know that story.
Yeah.
Richard Feynman put a piece of rubber in his ice water on the table of the committee. And when he pulled the rubber out of the ice water, he hit it on the table and it shattered.
Right.
That story tells a million words about why Challenger exploded on the launch pad. The O-rings we'd been out there. I was there. I was there, darling,
Wow.
because teachers were invited to the launch and I
Amazing.
went. Mm-hmm. So Sally Ride served on the commission to investigate the Challenger disaster. Third thing, Columbia, on re-entry, the Space Shuttle Columbia, in re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, a piece of foam insulation had damaged one of the fins and it exploded over Texas. Now, here's an interesting story about that, Logan. I was driving under the Columbia when it exploded.
Wow.
I was on international, what is it called? IH, International Highway 35, heading
Right.
south. And I kept seeing these meteors arc over my car. I'm like, what's going on? Well, of course, I turn on the radio and I hear the Columbia has exploded over Texas.
Amazing.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, Sally Ride served on the commission to investigate the Columbia disaster. She is the only astronaut, she's the only person who served on both commissions, the Challenger and the Columbia. And as we all know, those two disasters in short time put it into the shuttle program. How do we get to the space station then? Well, we have to hitch a ride with Russia, or now private companies take us to the space shuttle. I mean, the space station. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So Sally Ride, well known to NASA, they loved her. They put her on the dream team. They put her on both disaster commissions. And when she retired, she didn't stop.
Yeah.
She started the Sally Ride Science. And these are children's books of scientists and people promoting science, working in the science industry. It's a book program. I've been to Sally Ride Science in California, my darling.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. An amazing woman. It's great that you documented her life. Your book is primarily targeted to whom?
Well, I was a science teacher, but I was a science teacher for 50 years. So that's a long time.
Yeah.
And in that time, I taught almost every grade. But I also served as science education administrator for the state of Texas, for Austin School District. I was the science director. So I I'm sorry, I
I was
lost my
saying, who
train
did
of
you
thought.
target the book to? We were saying, is
Oh,
it high
well,
schoolers,
well.
middle schoolers?
I taught middle school and high school. Well, I taught elementary, middle, and high, and then I taught teachers
Yeah.
because we want everybody to succeed in their classroom.
Yeah.
So when I'm writing, Logan, I target my audience about junior high, high school. And then I just have to hope, with my fingers crossed, that people read.
Yeah.
Because education has changed dramatically in the last couple of years. But my books, they're chapter books. They're highly engaging. In fact,
Absolutely.
all of my books end with author's notes, which speaks to my readers. I hope you enjoyed my book. Here's how you can engage more fully with the text. And then I
Wonderful.
make suggestions. Illustrate a story, write your own journal entry, pretend you meet Sally Ride. What would you say? That kind of engagement with the text, because I want junior high, high school readers to feel like they're a part of the book and get a lot of information out of the book.
Wonderful. Well, it's an important story that you tell. She's a true American hero, and she really doesn't get the notoriety that she deserves. And so we're glad that you're putting her in the spotlight. And it was delightful putting you in the spotlight today. The name of the book by Dr. Barbara Ten Brink is On the Space Shuttle with Sally Ride. It's a beautiful cover. It's a beautiful book. It's written by a very learned, very experienced, very knowledgeable author who has written many biographies. And this is indeed one of her best, if not her best. And you and your family will love learning about what made Sally Ride stand out, what gave her the right stuff. And as the doctor points out, in large part, it was her tenacity. It was her perseverance. It was her refusal to back down. Those are great lessons for everyone. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.